Enter player 1.
First, let's establish something important. RRR, which stands for Rise, Roar, Revolt, is not a movie in the conventional Western sense. It's more like a cinematic weapon of mass exhilaration. Director S.S. Rajamouli didn't just make a film, he opened a portal into an alternate reality where the laws of physics are heavily negotiable, masculinity is measured in how many flaming chariots you can jump over, and subtlety is a word that fell out of the dictionary sometime around the first Tiger attack. Released in 2022, RRR became an international phenomenon. It's an Indian Telugu-language historical action drama, although honestly, historical here means vaguely inspired by two real people, but with the restraint of a sugar-high child writing fan fiction. The two leads, Komaram Bheem, played by N.T. Ramarao Jr., and Alluri Sitarama Raju, played by Ram Charan, were actual revolutionaries who fought against British colonial rule in the early 20th century. In real life, they never met. In RRR, they not only meet, they become the most aggressively bromantic duo since Frodo and Sam, if Frodo had the upper body strength to throw a motorcycle like a lawn dart. The film has three central pillars. 1. Friendship so intense it could cause minor earthquakes. 2. Over-the-top action sequences that defy biology, chemistry, and occasionally geometry. 3. Colonial villains so cartoonishly evil they make Cruella de Vil look like a puppy foster mom. Let's break this down, because RRR isn't just entertainment, it's a cultural event, an action spectacle, and possibly a covert arm workout if you watch it while holding your breath. Opening salvo, setting the stage for mayhem. The movie wastes no time establishing the stakes. Within the first few minutes, we have a young girl kidnapped by the British governor's wife because she likes her singing voice. Translation, colonialism, but make it personal and horrifying. A scene where Ram's character takes on an entire mob single-handedly, beating them into submission with the calm efficiency of someone cleaning out their inbox. Foreshadowing of wild animals as narrative devices, because why have just bullets when you can have Bengal tigers? This isn't a film that builds slowly, it leaps directly into high drama and higher body counts. Rajamouli understands that in a global attention economy, you need to hook your audience early. And nothing says you're in for something special, quite like your protagonist vaulting over a gate into a sea of angry protesters and emerging completely unscathed, still holding his gun. The bromance to end all bromances. Forget romantic subplots. True Heart is the friendship between Bheem and Raju. They meet during a rescue operation involving a burning bridge, a child in peril, a horse, a motorcycle, and a rope, because of course. This sequence, shot in glorious slow motion, is a perfect microcosm of the film. Utterly implausible, yet so committed to its own spectacle that you can't help but grin. From there, the film becomes an extended courtship, just not the kind you'd expect. They train together, share rides, prank each other, and have an unspoken understanding that they die for one another. There's a montage that's essentially a dating reel if you swapped candlelit dinners for spearing fish in unison. Their connection is so strong that when betrayals inevitably happen, it lands with the emotional weight of being personally unfriended by your favourite person on earth. Action set pieces, the art of the impossible. Let's talk about the action scenes, because RRR treats them not as set dressing, but as events. Each one has a personality, a rhythm, and a level of absurdity that would make Michael Bay blush. 1. The tiger fight. Early on, Bheem traps a tiger with his bare hands, not in the tranquilizer dart and safety cage way, but in the I'm going to wrestle this apex predator into submission way. This is the movie's way of telling you, yes, you're allowed to laugh in disbelief, just keep watching. 2. The bridge rescue. Possibly the most iconic meet-cute in cinema history, involving synchronized heroics that should not be physically possible unless both men are secretly demigods. 3. The party dance Naatu Naatu. Not technically a fight scene, but emotionally just as intense. It's a competitive dance-off against smug British aristocrats that turns into a cardio massacre. It's joyful, defiant, and absurdly infectious. You will want to learn the steps, fail miserably, and blame me. 4, the animal ambush. This is where RRR says, we've done slow-mo fights, we've done dancing, now let's unleash an entire zoo on the enemy. CGI tigers, deer, leopards like Noah's Ark, but all the animals are angry and have a vendetta against colonial oppression. The 5, the final showdown. Shirtless, bloodied, and armed with enough firepower to level a small village, our heroes face the British Army in a climax that is equal parts mythological and pyrotechnic. What's remarkable is how every set piece is infused with emotion. These aren't empty calories of action. They're built on character motivation, personal stakes, and the ever-present undercurrent of friendship. Villains you love to hate. If the heroes are painted in mythic proportions, the villains are sketched in pure concentrated evil. Governor Scott Buxton, played by Ray Stevenson, and his wife Catherine D are the kind of colonial caricatures that would feel over the top, if not for the fact that history is full of people exactly like them. They're condescending, violent, and utterly devoid of empathy. It's not subtle, but subtlety would be misplaced here. RR isn't about moral ambiguity, it's about righteous fury. And by the time the third act rolls around, you're practically begging the film to deliver their comeuppance. Music, the pulse of the film. M.M. Keeravani's soundtrack is as bombastic as the visuals, blending traditional Indian instrumentation with swelling orchestral arrangements. The songs aren't just filler, they're narrative beats. Naatu Naatu isn't just a dance number. It's a declaration of cultural pride. The background score shifts seamlessly from tender to thunderous, mirroring the film's roller coaster of tone. Themes, beneath the spectacle. Yes, it's over the top. Yes, it's occasionally ridiculous. But buried under the operatic excess, RR has things to say. Colonialism as dehumanization. The British characters view Indian lives as expendable, and the film never shies away from depicting the cruelty of that mindset. Friendship as resistance. The bond between Bheem and Raju isn't just personal, it's political. Together, they're stronger, more capable, and more dangerous to the status quo. Mythology in modern cinema. By framing the leads as near-mythic figures, Rajamouli taps into India's storytelling traditions while also making something accessible to international audiences. The length. A blessing and a curse. At over 3 hours, RR is not a quick watch. If you're used to 90-minute films, this will feel like running a cinematic marathon. But here's the thing. It earns that length. The pacing ebbs and flows, giving you breathing room between the bombastic sequences. It's not unlike reading a sprawling novel. You live in its world for a while, and by the end, you don't want to leave. The global impact. When RRR crossed over into Western markets, it wasn't just embraced. It was celebrated. Critics hailed it as a masterclass in maximalist filmmaking. Naatu Naatu even won the Oscar for Best Original Song, marking a rare moment where an unapologetically Indian film stormed the global stage without watering down its identity for foreign audiences. It proved that you can make a film steeped in local culture, deliver it with absolute sincerity, and still resonate worldwide. This wasn't Hollywood-flavoured Indian cinema, it was India on its own terms. Final verdict. RRR is a paradox. A film that is both ridiculous and deeply sincere, cartoonish yet emotionally grounded. It's an action epic that makes Marvel movies look like quiet indie dramas. It's a love story between two men that isn't romantic, but is more passionate than most romances. It's a historical fantasy that respects the spirit of resistance even as it throws history into a blender. Is it perfect? No, some CGI shots wobble under scrutiny, the villains are one-dimensional, and if you're allergic to melodrama, you might need to watch through your fingers. But perfection isn't the goal here. Immersion is. Rajamouli wants you to feel every punch, every betrayal, every triumphant roar. So, does it actually suck? Absolutely not. It's glorious chaos in cinematic form. The kind of film that makes you wish physics was optional and justice was always this stylish. If you watch it and don't feel your heroic spirit ignite just a little, you might want to check if you've been secretly cast as a British officer in someone else's movie.